Joining us now in studio, we of course have Vijay and G. Rajaraman with us, but now Atul Vasan has joined us too. I've been calling him the Oracle because he got the earlier match right as well. You got this one right too. What if you got a crystal ball at home?
Well, you know, I mean, I wouldn't like to reveal my sources, but you know, it's easy because you know T20 can go either way. It's just your instinct, you know. But then if you see, then now what you do is in the morning I would look at the players and suddenly I'll get the energy. When this player, what has transpired, is he up to the mark? But the players still might surprise you. I would never put my hand up and said that Shane Watson was going to win you the game today. But he stepped up. So it's been the story of CSK. It's got to do with the captaincy. It's got to do with the leadership. It's not the decisions you make on the field. It's how you handle the players and how much confidence you give. A good manager will either scold you and get the performance out of you, or he will, you know, mollycoddle you, or he'll pamper you. Dhoni knows what to do with what player.
And the kind of freedom that they get. I was talking to you earlier. They had all optional practice sessions this year. There was nothing that you have to...
Not a single compulsory practice session for Chennai.
He's smart because T20 doesn't need practice, that kind of thing.
And look at the team as well. Yeah. The average age is 33 plus.
So I hope other teams are listening.
Not at all. They shouldn't know.
One secret of Chennai is they didn't have one single practice. You know why I say that's surprising, and Raj, you back me up on that. Many times when the Indian team is playing, there are lots of question mark. Why is the team not practicing? And MS Dhoni as skipper ensured that there are many optional practice sessions. So it's a formula that he applied very well for the Indian team, did pretty well, and he's doing it with Chennai.
I think he knows the game perhaps better than anybody else around today, especially IPL. The dynamics, Nikhil, of IPL, and Vijay has coached a team that's won IPL, so he will bear me out. The dynamics of IPL are very different to all other tournaments. Absolutely. And I think Dhoni understood it the best. From the first year, he's understood it so well and put it into practice. It doesn't matter who comes to practice or who doesn't. It matters who turns up at the game and how well he plays. I think he gets 100% out of anyone. As Atul pointed out, it's all about leadership, and he's been just wonderful.
And you can see the players are on auto mode. You know, he doesn't seem to talk to somebody, tell them, they know what to do. I think Stephen Fleming, we are missing out here. He has been the guy. Yes. You must mention him here. I mean, you mentioned Vijay as a coach. You know, coaches don't get the laurels in cricket as much as at times. And somebody as Stephen Fleming, he has made the core of the team and kept them together. And it's not just Dhoni's decision who to play on a given day. Last game, du Plessis playing was Stephen Fleming's decision, you know. Right. And Maxwell playing all the games was Ricky Ponting's decision.
Okay, you know? That's the contrast. No, very valid.
Well, Ricky wanted him as a captain.
It was so, you know, I'm just saying, so Stephen Fleming must be in real good demand right now amongst all IPL teams.
I think he's there in a very good space. Demand, yeah, absolutely, but he's not going anywhere. If you remember a couple of years back, there was a talk that Indian team wanted him as a coach of the Indian side, and he's not going anywhere. He's very happy in that you know, in that dugout, and he doesn't want to go anywhere. And that's how you function.
Coaches should be, not in your face. You know, and I was telling you about Dhoni, you know, a good captain, you know, players need to know. I will tell you a story. I mean, Ian Bishop, we used to play together in England, and, you know, Clive Lloyd and Richard, he asked them, where should I stand in the field, you know, and he was told, just scatter, doesn't matter where you stand. Because the bowlers are going to do the job anyway. So he says, just go scatter on the field. I think that's what Dhoni does, just do whatever, you know what to do.
Okay, let's talk about, because Atul mentions in the morning, even though he got his prediction right, and he looks at all the energy and who's going to do and their performances, yet he said he couldn't pick that Watson would do well. I don't think anyone would have even thought Watson would be a success in the IPL, considering how he had been performing. I mean, I'd be very honest looking at him. I thought that was his last season, the last season that he played. No one would pick him. But Chennai saw something that none of us did.
Chennai should thank some other franchisee who convinced him to come into the auction. Last year, he played for RCB and he said, all bye, bye, bye. And there was an interview in which he almost mentioned that he would love to stay in touch with IPL through some other assignment, coaching assignment, or in a mentor sort of a role. Yeah, he made up his mind last year because the kind of ordinary season he had, and he knew the standard of IPL is completely different, had a decent big bash. Somebody has convinced him to come into the auction, and you know, if you look at the way auction went, there are a lot of players that Chennai were going for, but financially they didn't have that much in the kitty. So they have changed their strategy there and picked up these guys, and they performed. And they wanted these kind of players who can perform and win couple of games for them. It's just not one-man team they were after, or just one man they were banking on. Sam Billings won one game. After that, it's 6-7 bad games. They still believe.
Bravo, one game.
Also, Raidu?
They lost Kedar Jadhav, you know, which was pivotal to their plans. and they were moved out of their home ground.
Yes.
In spite of that,
everything going against
this. That just doesn't matter to them, to be very honest.
Even the scientists have proven that home advantage gives you at least 10%. It's an extra man on the pitch.
So they played with one man less, and yet they won the IPL.
I also think, Nikhil, that's very important to remember that Stephen Fleming and Dhoni are not homework people, and surely Shane Watson enjoyed not being given too much homework this time around.
And their meetings don't last more than 10 minutes, and half the time their meetings happen on the ground. There are other teams who are, having a meeting for hour and a half, and just going about the same guys every time. And it's not like that. They know the pulse. They know how to take it, and how to go about it. If Raidu was playing for any other team and he opened and got runs, and then the team management or captain asked him to play in the middle order, you have seen his statement or something or the other during the season only saying that, I was opening the innings, now I'm not open the inning, I'm playing in the middle order. Not a word. That's how you make a team, and that's how you keep your guys motivated and tell them that this is where I need you. The master stroke was ask him to open the innings, because he didn't have that kind of openers, and that's what you want.
So Raj, one thing is, like he's saying, that's an incredible story that Shane Watson had literally decided that this is it. Let's look at a coaching role. One is for someone to have convinced him to come back into the auction. The other is the conviction that the person who picked him in the auction would have had. I mean, that's a kind of vision not many people would have had, considering how Shane was performing before.
And today he put pressure on himself, didn't he, by playing 8 dot balls to Bhuvneshwar Kumar at the start of the innings. Not very many players who are playing from memory. And Shane Watson very clearly was playing from memory at the start of the season. Not very many players would play the kind of blinder that he did, especially after those 8 deliveries. I think Faf du Plessis gave up his wicket.
Fantastic. I think he was not good enough to get a nick. And then he's like a big Cadillac, he's warming up a bit, he just but he knew the pitch was so true, and everybody was watching. The pitch was wonderful. You could see that should just survive, and anybody gets going, this was going to happen. And Sunrisers also knew that if they don't get 3-4 quick wickets, the match was over. If this wouldn't have been Shane Watson, it would have been any other guy. This match was gone. Once they got to 178, they should have got to 198.
Okay. Conventional logic also, Atul says that, and most teams follow this, they don't pick up players who are not playing regular international cricket because they believe they may get rusty. And Shane Watson is one of those players. I mean, for him to then perform the way he has, I mean, that
bonus, seems, it's pot luck. But you can spend 12 crores.
Was it luck or planning?
Jaydev Unadkat, 12 crores. Look what happens. It's never about the money. You can't hold that. So there's no method of the madness. Nobody has been able to crack it. It's not the Moneyball movie where you can just put.
Exactly.
It sometime it'll come a cropper, sometime it won't. And I mean, players like cheap buys will get you the same kind of performances. But you also need big stars to get the revenue around the winning also. That's why Chris Gayle will always have value. Other players will always have value without performing. You need show ponies as well in this kind of format.
And mind you, this was CSK who was going after Jaydev Unadkat as well. They were going after him, really, really hard. Really, they wanted him and that kind of wicket. They wanted him in Chennai. Where you playing, that makes a lot of difference. With his slower ones and everything, that's the reason why he struggled a bit in Jaipur. But going back and talking about the way they picked up all the playing 11 that they wanted, the options they were looking for. Sometimes I feel that a lot of people have made this game too much into technology. The video analyst sitting and saying on this ground 160 is enough. This is the combination. This guy gonna come. This team, this management has given that free hand to Fleming, who sits on the auction table having a chat with Mahendra Singh Dhoni or whoever, and once the game starts, Dhoni is the boss, and that's how it works.
At times
but don't you think other franchises would give this? I mean, I don't know. Wouldn't, let's say, Virat would have that free hand in Bangalore?
Of course he would,
but yet Chennai does it so well.
No, because it's just got some kind of a lineage, the legacy and the belief. So that confidence also takes them forward. And then he talked about technology. I think technology is good to read players and all that.
Absolutely.
But just to get these statistics, is just to justify how much you've spent on technology. If that was true, then stock guys just press on these buttons and all. He had monkey pressing on buttons and he won more money on stock market. It's similar to that. So statistics mean nothing. It's just to entertain people sitting at home and just to give you something to talk about. Otherwise, it has no value in cricket.
The other thing, because you were always on the opposite end, you as a coach, you faced the Chennai Super King team. I believe a lot of people tell me there is this fear or this aura that is with Chennai. Did you experience that playing against them? Something different?
I'll say the aura, and it's been earned on the field. They have done that. All the close games, if you see, they're able to beat you, and that's the reason why when you're playing against them, there's a different sort of a pressure, and a lot of teams feel it. If they don't say it, because they'll be playing against them in the future as well, but it's definitely. And whenever it's a big game, and you know, that's another class about them. They'll hardly lose a game in a first half. They'll always try and remain in the game, and that's another mindset that don't give up. Go on. You'll get a good over, or you'll get a good catch, or you'll get a bad shot. Just hang in there, and that's the USP of this side.
You know, you see the players, you see the way they walk. They're assured of something about them. It happens to a team which keeps on. We saw that in West Indies team, because even the youngsters who used to have the swagger, because they knew they were part of a team which doesn't know how to lose. So other teams used to be on top at times. It's like a joke, you know. This guy was hitting this guy and still crying. And the guy's done that. He says, "Why are you crying? Because you're hitting him." You know, because I know when he gets up, he's going to hit me back.
Okay. And there's no instrument to, you know, to judge the confidence. Right. Whether you're not confident or not, at least that you show that you are very confident, and that puts it out in the mind of the opposition.
Because he put it that way, let me ask you: is Chennai then the equivalent of, let's say, the West Indies of 70s and 80s and an Australia of 90, where half the battle is won when you take the field?
Definitely. It's like bowling to Vivian Richards, let's say, or to a Clive Lloyd. You don't know where to bowl. Half the battle is lost unless you're ready to play a team like Chennai Super Kings, ready to take them on their own terms and beat them. It's not going to be easy. So half the battle is lost in the mind, and half the battle is lost when you don't perform to certain levels of expectation that you will have against a team like Chennai Super Kings. You want to win, you got to go and dominate them. How did India beat Australia? How did Saurav Ganguly's team beat Australia? It's with that show of confidence. Some of it might have been fake, some of it might have been a show, but the best way to beat Chennai Super Kings would be to show confidence that most teams tend to leave in the dressing room when they get on the field.
But my next question would be, Atul, why is there no aura then, let's say, around Mumbai Indians? They won the equal amount of titles as Chennai has.
Yeah, because you know, there's also a certain amount of respect for Mahendra Singh Dhoni, you know, and if you know, even if a player is wanting to show that he's brash and he doesn't care about it, you know, because of this guy, you got to have your demeanor right. It happens, you know. Certain people in world cricket have got their persona, you know, and you can get cocky with them, but you know that, that if you do that and it doesn't come off, you're gonna look really silly. I think Dhoni has got that aura, you know, whether off the field, on the field, what he has, his body of work is immense. He's won everything. He's won the Champions League. I remember Champions League. Yes. He's won this 3 times. He's played 7 finals. He's done everything under the sun. And for somebody who was not, rated as talented or as an international player, what he has achieved is remarkable.
Okay. Quickly, we're running out of time, but I'd like to ask all three of you. We know the team of the tournament is Chennai, but if I was to ask you for the MVP, the player of the tournament, who would you go for?
Williamson. For me.
Williamson.
Absolutely. Okay. Because, before the tournament started, he was not even a surety.
Oh yeah. And that's if Warner had been playing, he wouldn't have played.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the captaincy on top of that, and the way he played, I'll go for him.
Williamson. Okay, interesting.
Rashid for me.
Rashid.
He's by far.
Okay. Looking forward to watching him in the Test match.
I'm telling you, he's going to get a 5-er.
I want to see what sort of a wicket. What sort of a wicket they're going to get.
Yes. With Mujib, if Mujibur Rahman from the other end, this guy Mohammad Nabi, India is up for it.
Okay.
You might find it funny that in a T20 situation, I'm talking of being old-fashioned. I'm old-fashioned. So it has to be MS.
Old-fashioned team has won
It has to be MS Dhoni. I don't see anybody else as the MVP. It has to be MS Dhoni. The kind of changes he got into the side, the kind of belief he instilled in the players, and as Vijay points out, giving them optional practices throughout the season. It has to be Mahendra Singh Dhoni, nobody else.
Okay, don't be apologetic about being old-fashioned. Like I said, an old-fashioned team, team made up of seniors. It was, what was it called? Dad's Army has managed to win the IPL. Thanks so much for joining us, Vijay Daya, Atul Vasani.
I was hoping to see some t-shirts with Dad's the boss. They should have kept it in the kit bag and just wore it.
We did see a lot of t-shirts. I don't know if someone got that, but maybe that's an idea. I might see Dhoni fans wear that.